So here's one piece of advice that I give to my clients in criminal cases, in every criminal case when we're going to trial and I'm preparing them to testify. It's a very simple piece of advice, but it's overlooked in just about every criminal trial. And I think that's an absolute shame because this really makes a big difference. Here's what that piece of advice is. When you are either a witness or a defendant, but when you're somebody testifying at trial, it's critically important that when you're giving your testimony from the witness stand, that you're actually looking at the jurors that you're testifying to. Here's why that becomes an issue. The way that a courtroom breaks down is you have a podium, and that's where an attorney is typically standing and asking questions from. Then you've got a witness stand, which is pretty close to the judge. And then, for the most part, it's off to the right-hand side. There is the jury box, and that is where the jurors are lined up and seated. Well, what that is it puts the jurors at a right angle to both the lawyer, the judge, and the witnesses, which is fine because it gives the jury a really good panoramic view of the courtroom. But when a lawyer is asking their witness questions, you get into this back and forth where the lawyer is looking at the witness, asking a question, and the witness is looking at the lawyer and answering their questions. But what's missed in that is the jury is really just seeing the witness's side of their face. And that can be an issue, especially in a case where credibility is very important because the jury is going to have to decide who to believe. And it's the jury's job to decide what witnesses was credible, and they do that based on, in part, on how you testify. And the one thing that is significant to people when they're making credibility determination is whether or not that person was willing to look them in the eye and tell them the truth. Well, if the whole time during your testimony, the jury's staring at your ear, they're not really having that opportunity to look you in the eye and have you tell them the truth of what happened. So if you're a witness, if you're testifying, and you get into this back and forth with the attorney, remember when you're giving your answer, it's fine to look at the attorney when the attorney's asking you the question, but when you're giving your answer, make sure you're making that turn and you're telling your answer to the jury so that they can see your face, they can see your reaction, and they can see you as a credible person who should be believed. So that's an important piece of advice that I give to every one of my clients, every one of my witnesses who I'm going to have testify at trial.